let's talk about some of the stuff I've done to prepare this bike to be ready. So after you saw me unpackage it, unbox it, and then put it together, but then I kind of need to go through everything on this bike. So let me go through really quick some of those things that I did to prepare the bike beyond just putting it together. You know, we got the handlebars on, you know, the front forks where it attaches the axle nut. Was actually the axle nut on this side was actually completely off, because you need to pull the front tire off to put the fender on. That's no big deal, just making sure that's torqued properly. And then I kind of checked every nut and bolt as I went around, and so you have to put the gear shifter on, and I thought this was going to be too short, but it actually turns out it works out perfectly. And then this was ready to fall off, so this needed to be tightened here for the air filter. There's a little tiny air filter in there. I'm going to probably replace this, but wanted to do everything 100% stock. As we go around, there's a guard for the chain that goes back this way, and I took this one off because it just kind of rattled around. And then the bottom of this chain guard here, which is aluminum, rests on the chain, so I cut it back a little bit. I'm actually going to cut it back a little bit more, so I cut it back to here. I'm going to cut it back to about there, so that it doesn't, you hear it rattle once in a while, and that's kind of annoying, so I'll change that. I actually pulled the swing arm off because I heard that the swing arm bushings back in here can be not correct from the factory, and I checked them. The swing arm could move side to side, and so this bolt was a little bit loose, and it needed a shim, so I actually just put back in here, I put a washer on that side that shimmed the, put enough shim in the bracket here so that it could tighten up against the swing arm so that it doesn't move anymore. But the bushings seemed to be fine. I bought replacements just so I'd have them. Tightened up the shocks. They were, you know, these bolts were a little bit loose. Let's see, let's go around on the inside. The battery had to be put in, but the battery was charged, which was really cool. It's a sealed lead acid battery, but it was charged, which is really cool. If I'm going to show you a couple things underneath there, you have to adjust the brakes, that you've got the right brake leverage, you know, the brake feel. And so I've adjusted that. I adjusted it before I went out, and then I need to adjust it again when I was out riding. And so that's pretty easy to do. What else? Okay, so I changed the oil immediately. So I just drained the oil out that they gave that was in it, and then put in a Mobile one, fully synthetic. And this is that's what I put in. It's the Racing T4 1040, and I'd probably recommend this 2050. It's the V-twin. It has things for higher temperatures, so and that's probably a better way to go. So when I change the oil again, I'll probably put that in. And let's open up the seat, and I'll show you what else I did really quick, because it's kind of an interesting thing about these. Maybe it's just a California model, but when you open this up, you've got all these electronic parts, and they were all stacked up on top here. So the problem is that it touched the seat, and there's actually some connectors here that there's a positive and negative connector, so you don't want that hitting the seat. It's probably plastic, but I just figured I'd cover that up. They put a little plastic piece here, but this is a metal piece that goes through, and so I moved that over. I left this one here, I moved this down, and I moved another piece over here to the side so that everything was kind of out of the way, and now it doesn't hit the seat when I close it, and that actually seems to work better. So that's kind of it. I'm looking around, seeing if there's anything else. You know, I did check the speedometer cable here to the front wheel was loose, so make sure those things are tightened up. You don't want those coming off. Checking all the bolts in the exhaust cover, all these little bolts, these were all loose, so they're all just, everything needs to be tightened up. And other than that, it's ready to go. All right, guys, let's put some gas in this sucker. and we can take it out for a ride. And it's not going to take that much. Let's see here. And it's just full. Whoops, over full. Well, just full. Which was that? 0.44 gallons. I already put some in from the lawnmower tank in the garage, so there we go. Now let's go for a ride. All right, so let's start her up. Obviously rode it over here. So what I found is first gear is way too low. Like, that's it. So starting off in maybe second gear might be good. Let's try second gear. Start off from here. Yeah, second gear seems about right. Maybe you could start off in third. I think we might have to let's turn right. See that? First gear? There's no way. Second gear? Maybe. Third gear? That's about right for maybe even first. We're gonna have to really re-gear this thing. But the engine runs great. I think I need to adjust the brakes a little bit because it's hard to get to that rear brake. It's really low right now. So I adjusted them right off the bat, but they need to be readjusted again, like that first gear. We skipped a second, third, fourth. That's it. I'm gonna have to re-gear it. We just need more. It's got plenty of power to pull it. I want to go in here into AutoZone and see if they have a better air filter for me. Maybe they've got a K&N that'll fit this thing. I'm going to go in and take a look really quick and then come back out. Guys, so I took a look to see if they had a new air filter for me for the bike. But I'll probably just have to order one online just to get more of a real air filter on this thing that has a filtration system, but I have no idea if it's any good. So we'll probably put a little K&N on there. And anyways, let's take the Amigo out for a ride. I'm finding, as we just saw, the first gear's too low. Second gear's probably too low. If I start out in second gear, seems to be just fine. So I can see really re-gearing this thing maybe to see what kind of sprocket it's got on it, and we'll probably bring that up a bit. Oh, you know what I'm going to check? Let's check the brakes again. I think I readjust those really quick and make it so at least it got something out of that rear brake. Alright, so easy adjustment on that rear brake, and then when we take off, see how the bike has plenty of power. Oh yeah, now I can stop. Hey, that's a good thing. I just want to be able to stop. Let's go second gear. Alright, there we go, a little break in the traffic. Yay! And we can do a good stop. Yeah. Oh, the brakes, front brake's starting to break in a little bit better. Got a little more stopping power there. I keep going into first gear. I know I need second. Then we're going to go find a bit more of a bumpy road. So I want to see how these shocks do. I'm not sure. That's sort of the next thing to realize. I think the power of it's pretty good, you know, for what it is. There's that first gear again. We're definitely going to get a new sprocket. We'll order that today. We'll order a new air filter today. Now let's just see about these shocks. They're doing okay. There's a bump. Can't tell if I need more bumps. Let's see, so we're cruising along at 40 miles an hour. Thought that was my turn. And that's no problem. do a second gear start on that one. That's it. I want to look for another gear. It winds out about 45. And we're going to turn here. There's a good bumpy road. See what it's like. One of the things that I did do on this bike is the chain guard. I took the main chain guard off because it was just looked really chintzy, and then I took the front chain guard and took part of the bottom of it off. I'll show you guys that later, but the chain basically rubbed on it, so, and I still hear it once in a while, so I might need to take a little more off of that. But hey, I'm impressed. I thought I was going to have to do more to this than I've done. So, you know, I went through and checked everything out, checked all the nuts and bolts, and made sure everything was tight. Made sure there weren't anything missing. On the rear swing arm, I wanted to check the bushings there because people say those are pretty bad. And it actually was loose, so the back end would move around a little bit. So I took that apart, looked at it. The bearings were fine, need a little shim in there, and then tighten it back up, and it's totally solid. I've got spares if I need them, but they seem to be just fine. What else did I find? You know, you gotta make the adjustments, the brake adjustments, clutch adjustments, and then, you know, put gas in it. I changed the oil out right away, so I didn't even bother with the oil that was in it. Never started it with it. I just drained it out and put a good synthetic oil in here. Put Mobil 1 Racing synthetic oil. And I figured because it's probably going to get ridden pretty hard, might want that. So that was a pretty rough road, and I need a rougher road. See, I need to see if it bottoms out, but I think we'll just go back around and find more potholes. But so far, it goes pretty good. That's pretty decent. I thought I'd have to replace the gear shifter because I didn't think it was going to be long enough, and that actually works out perfect. I didn't think it was going to be long enough at all, but it's actually, I've got a size 12 to 13 foot, and if I can remember to keep this thing in second gear, my foot fits kind of perfect in there. So until I bend that one, I'll keep that. Let's see, looking for bumps. It's bouncy. I haven't really bottomed out yet, so maybe over speed bump or something I'd bottom out. I thought it'd be a lot worse than it is. The gearing's the big thing because this thing has plenty of power to pull a lot faster. I can tell it's a little rough, so I just hit a pretty good sized bump there and it was pretty solid, so I'm not sure if that's bottoming out or what. Well, it's kind of just fun to check this out for a first ride and see how it goes and check everything over again. But so far, I'm actually pretty impressed because I thought, oh yeah, I'll have to replace the handlebars, I'll have to replace the grips, I'll have to replace the mirrors, and so far, no, the mirrors work really great. These are not breakaway or anything. I'll probably end up putting breakaway mirrors on it for trail riding, but these I can see really well out of. The front forks, you know, at first, I need to check. I wonder if they're not bottoming out. I probably could put new oil in there. At first they were just springy, and now they actually have a little bit of dampening to them. So I think maybe there was no oil in going through the shock mechanism or the valve mechanism. Because now actually the front shocks work pretty well. The backs are pretty springy. So I'll probably put a heavier weight oil in the front, see how that does, and replace the rear shocks just because I'm going to want something that's not quite so springy. There's that first gear again. And as you guys can all know, get a new front sprocket. So what size do I get? I don't know. I'm going to research that a little bit. So we're doing, let's go up to 50 miles an hour. That's 50. So it'll do what they say. That was the easy 50. It's just winding out pretty hard. But no problem. At indicated 50, I have no idea what that means. It's at, what, 75 kilometers an hour? And that seemed to be no problem at all. But I'm going to have to get my phone out and GPS this thing and see what the speed really is like. Oh, there's one, 29, 31, and that says about 35. So it's off. So even if I'm doing 50, that's probably 45. So it was nice to have that little, I can go test my speeds right back there. And so that's actually pretty good because I'm putting bigger tires on this and a bigger sprocket. So I think once I do that, maybe we'll be closer in the the speed range. I don't know. I know with the tires that's going to help. So they're a lot bigger than these. But so far this is pretty fun, guys. Let's see, maybe I can turn here and go just do a little bit more riding. So now I don't want, oh no, that's for the court. Why don't you just start off in third gear? Oops, there, I'm putting it down to second. I'm going to try third gear instead. Yeah, no problem. You just do third and fourth gear. Yeah, it's a little luggy in third gear. But that's it. There we go. Want to shift again, but there's no thing to shift into. Alright. Alright, so sprocket. Let's see how fast we can get a sprocket. Put that in. But hey, this is big thumbs up, guys. This thing is pretty freaking cool. It's a lot of fun to ride. And I am surprised that it's got as much power as it does. I really thought, oh, I'll have to replace the motor, but this thing scoots along. Put a bigger sprocket on it, I'll be able to just cruise along at 50. That'd be great. That'd be awesome. Jeez. I'm pretty stoked about it, guys. Is the Amigo 125. That's right. Boom.